We are the RGV LEAD Student Ambassadors of Fairland High School.
Today we will hear from employers in a variety of career fields.
We'll also hear from representatives
from state universities and local RGV colleges.
The messages we hear today are sure to help us make informed decisions in our educational and career pathway.
Let's give our presenters our undivided attention.
Remember to take notes, ask questions, and enjoy the 2021 EXPO.
Up we have from the National Weather Service, Barry Goldsmith, a warning coordination meteorologist. So, Mr. Goldsmith.
All right. Good morning, everybody. And thanks again for the RGV LEAD Expo folks for inviting us this year. We've done this live before. This is the first time we've done it virtually. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see my screen. All right, so let's get going. Today we're going to talk about careers in the National Weather Service and how to get there from here. As you can see at the bottom here, these are some interesting events that we've had over the last decade across the valley. On the left was Hurricane Hannah. The middle was a hailstorm that caused $600 million in damage in the McAllen area. And on the right, there was a building used as a shelter and a gym that was destroyed by a thunderstorm wind of 95 miles per hour. So these are just a few of the weather types that we get here in the valley. So before we start, let's talk about the Weather Service. So the Weather Service has been part of the federal government to protect lives and livelihoods across the U.S. and its territories since 1870. And we are currently under the Department of Commerce and an agency known as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA for short. We've had an office in the Rio Grande Valley for quite some time, and we're about to get our 100th anniversary, or turn 100, next year. So it's a kind of a landmark period for us here in the Valley. We do observations, forecasts, and official hazardous weather warnings. That's what most people know about the Weather Service, and everything from fires to floods and hurricanes and all kind of weather in between. But what you might not have known is that we do a lot more than the forecast these days. We provide decision support to public safety officials to keep our community safe, not only here in the Valley, but across the country. And more than the forecast, too, is now involving the social behavioral science aspect of communication. Why is that important? Because we can issue all the warnings in the world, but if the information isn't actionable and doesn't provide a means to meet our mission of protecting life and property, we've got to go back to the drawing board and find a better way to communicate to resonate with people. So we're doing a lot more than just weather and observations. So a little bit about me. Photo on the right, if you can see it, I'm holding a piggy bank, and my job is actually a customer service public relations person. But in 1986, I began as a student trainee. It's now known as the Pathways program, and you saw a slide earlier from USDA about the Pathways program. We have the same thing in NOAA. I was a college junior when I began, but again, it can't start as early as these pre-college or early college high school level. I moved directly into full-time employment as a programmer and statistician in the late 1980s and 1990s. You're thinking, well, don't you do weather? Why are you doing programming and statistics? I'll explain that in a little bit. My next stop, though, was forecaster. When I was 7 years old, I got really into weather, like a lot of us do. And I decided I wanted to forecast the weather to help people be safe, as well as to understand the atmosphere better. So I got my dream fulfilled in the mid-1990s. I'm from the DC area originally, and I worked in my hometown for about 5.5 years. And then I moved to the sunny climates of the west coast of Florida, across the Gulf of Mexico, in Tampa Bay for about the next 9 years. Then in 2007, I was hired to be your public relations and customer service representative, or known as the warning coordination meteorologist, here in the Brownsville, Rio Grande Valley office, where I remain today. So how do you get into the Weather Service, and what do you need to do to get there? So you might typically expect this. We obviously have meteorologists, or a better term is atmospheric science. And of course, we have hydrologists, because after all, when it rains, the water has to flow somewhere. That usually includes rivers, streams, and creeks and drainage areas. And so we call the hydrologists the water folks. We also now have environmental scientists. They're working on not only how changes in the environment are occurring due to land use, but also due to changing climates. So climatology is a big factor here. And we can't do our jobs these days without information technology. So computer science, computer engineering, really, really important to our infrastructure. And we also have people that run the physical plant. Obviously, if the lights are on, that's one thing, but if we don't have computers that run with the hardware, software, and the electronics, then we're dead in the water. So we have electronic systems folks too. What you might not expect, what about geographers? We actually have people now in geography that are coming in. One of the skills is geographic information systems, or GIS. And we have social and behavioral scientists, as I mentioned earlier, understanding how we communicate and how we can improve those communications and human behavior. So there are all kinds of positions available in the Weather Service, not only from the physical science side, but also from the social or softer science side. So what about your career path in the Weather Service? How do you go through a career once you get there? Well, first and foremost, try to volunteer at a local Weather Service office. And you can find them at the website listed here. And if you're watching, feel free to take this down, or we can get this to you later. You can also join the Pathways program, as mentioned before. And here's the website where you can start from the Weather Service side. It'll get you to a Pathways page. And then you can transition into an entry-level forecaster or research position. If you're going into meteorology, you don't necessarily have to go into forecasting. You can be a researcher who helps to make our forecasts better. Then you can promote to a senior forecaster in the field, a program manager in one of our headquarters at the regional or national level, or a senior researcher at just about anywhere from the Weather Service down to academic institutions. Finally, you can promote to an office manager like myself, or a program director, or perhaps even higher. Who knows, you might be running the agency someday. So how do you get to the starting line? You got to build your foundation in coursework and skills. As they said in the Big Bang Theory, math, science, history, unraveling the mystery. Well, for us, it's math, science, and communications. If you don't build that foundation, you won't really have a good opportunity to go far in getting to the first starting line. So if you're a senior in high school now or going into your senior year next year, make sure you try to get to your calculus, physics, chemistry, and environmental science courses. Don't forget programming as well on the computer science side. And if they offer AP level or early college level, definitely take this. Your core prerequisites, which could start as early as the early college high school programs here in the Valley, or freshman and sophomore at university, full calculus courses, engineering, physics, computer science, and geographic information systems. And don't forget those communications electives. When you get to your core curriculum, it'll center on atmospheric science, geography, and advanced computer science, but you might want to consider a minor in social or behavioral science, communications, or a technical field. In my case, I minored in statistics. By graduate level, you continue your core in atmospheric sciences, but you can also advance your minor further or something else. Perhaps you can get a master's in business administration or public administration, or these days, emergency management is really important to how we meet our mission. So where are you going to go to school to get your degree? Well, unfortunately, right now, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley doesn't offer a full program, but there are a number of university programs in the state of Texas. Texas A&M has the Atmospheric Sciences program up in College Station, but they also offer one at Corpus Christi. And nearest to the Valley, we have the Bachelor of Science program in meteorology at the University of the Incarnate Word at San Antonio. Texas Tech also offers atmospheric sciences out in Lubbock. And Texas A&M is the world-renowned University of Texas offering this program. But you can go to other places too, not too far away, such as Mississippi State, which offers a full broadcaster's degree in meteorology if television is your thing. And the University of Oklahoma School of Meteorology is one of the top 5 ranked in the nation, and all of these offer grad and undergrad programs. The list here you can see on the website will show you exactly where those programs are nationwide. There are now more than 50 universities offering these programs. So finally, how do we get to the finish line? First, you have to make the interview. One thing you need to know about today versus when I came up through the system is that you will be competing with dozens to hundreds of qualified applicants. For me as a hiring manager, it's a buyer's market out there. So you need to win the competition. So how do you go about winning the competition? As mentioned before, volunteer. You can volunteer at a weather office. You can volunteer at a television station with meteorology staff such as Channel 5 here in the Valley or Telemundo. You can also be on a specialized blog site and perhaps write blog entries on weather and forecasting for that. Also consider a related support job while you're in university. Communications jobs or emergency management jobs will get our attention for sure. And have a wild card. Specialized work that requires dedication to public service can be a tiebreaker. One of our more recent hires was a missionary over in India for a couple of years, and that showed a real dedication to working with people. It got our attention in addition to other things on her resume to get her an interview, and eventually she was hired by us. So graduate degrees do help. Your master's and your PhDs are definitely a plus, but they are not a requirement to getting into an entry-level job with the Weather Service. So now that you've finished, gotten to the interview process, how do you finish strong and get hired? Well, first you need to be prepared. Remember that practice always makes perfect, especially for a relaxed, confident interview. You need to, once again, win the competition. So you've won a first competition by getting through perhaps 100 applicants to get to the top 5 or 10 where we'll be interviewing. Now you have to win the total competition and do well in that interview too. So how do you do that? Well, you need to be able to present a project or research that you have done in a summary form clearly and concisely. We might give you 1 or 2 minutes to go over what you've done. So be ready to do that. Be able to think beyond the forecast. If you're going to a job as a forecaster or interested in that side of meteorology, whether it's that or research, you need to be able to think outside of the box because questions that you get will be indeed outside of the box. Be able to show your teamwork and leadership skills. These are crucial. If you pass that test, you have a really good chance of being in our top 2 and possibly being selected. And don't forget to be human. Consider the extracurricular activities that make you, you. And finally, good luck in all the processes that we've shown here. So to reach me, here's my contact information, as well as social media, not only for myself, but for our office here in the Rio Grande Valley. And we're on the web here at weather.gov/RGV. With that, I'll take any time for some questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goldsmith. I definitely appreciate it. Let me check the chat. I don't see any chat or any questions in the chat. I did share the links that you provided in your PowerPoint in regards to the volunteering, the pathways internships, and the college and university college list. So for those of you that are watching and you want to quick access, go to the chat box, click the links. So Mr. Goldsmith, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing that great information. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to Brownsville Independent School District, the Technology Service Divisions. I think we have a few presenters on here, but we have Robert Fisher, the Director of Technology Services. So Mr. Fisher, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Robert Fisher of the Brownsville Independent School District. I have beside me, I have Mr. Todd Nichols, Assistant Director here in the Technology Office, and Mr. Chris Rowan is a Network Administrator. I noticed that on the handout that we received it says Cybersecurity and Information Technology. Those are 2 very, very important parts of the pie of what we do on a daily basis in here. You may hear in the background people talking back and forth is because we're in operation anymore. The way technology is, we're in operation 24/7. Every single thing to do with technology through the Brownsville Independent School District to support 38,000 kids, 77,000 employees, maybe 4,500 telephones, everything to do, anything that has a MAC address on it, for those of you that are technical, apt. Anything to do with a MAC address is associated to us. So the best that we could tell any students at the moment, after I cover all the facets that we do, is to learn as much as you can about technology. Take as many courses, volunteer as much as you can, and provide that time to learn. Because in the interviews that we have, we never know if it's going to be a programmer. We never know it's going to be a network specialist, network administrator, cybersecurity, information technology, instructional technology. There are many, many facets of our day that will meet a need or excite an individual's mind in order to go into that career path. And who knows, once you're in that career path, you may find that you like cybersecurity better than you do instructional technology. You're like information technology. I want to be a programmer. So learn as many things as you possibly can. That's the best that I can tell you. And the job that we have in the Brownsville Independent School District is a job of service. We provide a service every single day. Most of us here are, or a lot of us here are teachers that have learned, have moved up in the ranks. And one thing in technology is you can never, ever stop learning, because what I learned even 5 years ago is out the door, and what's learning for tomorrow needs to be read about, learned about, used. And I see the challenge for post-secondary education to be able to provide those mechanisms in order for young minds, new students to come in and to learn the new technologies. An example being, if you come into an interview, how many servers have you touched? Do you know anything about servers? What is LDAP? So we got a lot of different terms that you all are familiar with, and hands-on, the more hands-on, the better. The more that you can bring to the table, the better off your chances are for success in any job, not necessarily just the Brownsville Independent School District. But to give you a list of some of the things that we do, Todd has printed out the technology plan of the positions that we have, anywhere from help desk clerk, computer technician, security camera technician, computer lead technicians, media center technicians, computer system operations, web design, network specialists, system programmers, network administrators, MIS programmers, and so on. So all these people play vital roles in making this big machine of BISD work every single day. And we're in collaboration with one another every single day to make something work. Learning management systems, softwares, new softwares, something they just saw yesterday on the television. It's something they want to utilize it within their classroom. You have to learn what those things are. We have one person that quotes every single person that wants to purchase something or procure a software, a device, anything from a Dell machine to a Chromebook. All those things need to be scoped out, find out what the teacher needs those products for, so we can better gear the product that they're requesting to meet their needs in the classrooms, whether it's first grade, kindergarten, all the way to seniors, and drafting every single thing throughout the district, including network. The network itself runs on wire, wireless, the faceplate, the jack, the patch panel, the switch, configuring of the switch. I know I'm touching upon many things. I have a whole list of things that we do on a daily basis, and these fine men and women in here, a well-oiled machine. They do a very good job. And if somebody's out, most, if not all of them, have an interaction where they can learn, pick up, communicate back and forth. We utilize Teams for the most part, Google Classroom. I know I'm doing a lot of hodgepodge, but email systems, for example, Office 360, for example, little kids with hatch computers, touch screens, anything that you can imagine. Learn as much as you can, and you'll have a better success rate after graduation to be able to achieve those goals that you have in order to make a career out of it. So cybersecurity being one of them. Let me pass over right now for the moment to Mr. Todd Nichols, see if he has some information related to the job that he does on a daily basis. And I will say, as the administrator, I have to rely upon, we all rely upon Todd, his expertise, his knowledge about how things work in this school district, and he keeps us all in check and working in tandem. So please, Todd.
Yeah, just real quick here. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. You know, you really have to look at technology and the changing of technology as it is right now. Mr. Fisher did touch on when we do have employees coming in or prospective employees that you really can't pigeonhole yourself just to one application or one thing because technology changes so much. And we just want to make sure that we have so many specialized things within our department that we wear a lot of hats here, and technology changes every day. So as we said, when you go to college, when you're in school, you may want to look at multiple degrees coming in. We all hear about cybersecurity now. That's kind of the big hot topic, and we want to say we pride ourselves with our network and making sure that it's safe. Is it foolproof? We want to say it is, but we know there's always something there. So every day we have a gentleman here who diligently is making sure that, we keep those out that we don't need to have in our network. So that's a big thing that we do look for is our security. Again, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Fisher said is, be well-rounded. Don't just come in and say, I just know how to do web pages. Because you really need to have a facet of multifunction here. So, I may want to turn it over to Chris Rohn here just a bit and kind of, he can touch base just a little bit about the cybersecurity and what he does on a daily basis.
Sorry about that. Yeah, good morning, everyone. As far as network security goes, it's an all-encompassing field, and you really have to know a lot about switching and routing, and in addition to firewalls and so forth. And it really helps to have a solid background in that. And I've been doing this since, well, let's see, I got hired in '87. So you do the math, it's quite a number of years. And you really have to stay current with what's happening in the field, of course. Right now, currently, we're deeply concerned with the rising incidence of ransomware attacks that are occurring. So we have to not only maintain our infrastructure as far as firewalls and routers and so forth, but we have to stay up to speed on everything else that's happening as well. As far as the qualifications required in becoming a network administrator or a security administrator, in my respect, I'm looking over at the chat. Are there entry-level positions in cybersecurity networking, MIS at BISD? The positions seem far for more skilled, experienced programmers. Do you have recent graduates apply? I'm not prepared to answer that. Todd or Mr. Fisher?
Well, those positions right there, Chris, I wish we could have more people to be able to fill those jobs if we had those jobs to be posted. Yeah. As you can imagine, school districts are limited in funds. So that's one of the reasons, not all the reasons, why we tend to overlap in all these different positions is because job availability isn't usually one of those unless a person leaves a position or retires from that position. So we would love to have more than just one. It would make life a little bit easier for the rest of us, but that kind of sort of, that puts us in a bind to learn how to do things and overlap. I'm not saying that we don't get those positions available, but they're harder to come through in a K-12 institution because once we fill a position, chances are real high. We've had real good success rate keeping the same folks over the years, and some retire, some have moved on, and we fill those positions, but they're far few and in between. But as school districts go, as technology goes, all these students that are listening today, they'll know that technology is needed more and more and more every single day within school districts or within businesses. What we have right now, like I said earlier, for those of you that know about MAC addressing and IP addressing and routing and the Cisco world, if you will, every single thing that gets put on our network, including, for example, time and attendance. All these time and attendance machines throughout the school district. And can you imagine, with 39 elementary schools, 12, 13 middle schools, and 6 high schools, the amount of employees that go in daily at 8 o'clock, punch in, punch out for lunch, punch back in after lunch, and continue, as well as our payroll department getting that information, providing that through we utilize a Power School product by the name of Business Plus. Business Plus is where the payroll department, our finance department, bills get paid, invoices come in. So everything that you can imagine gets placed on the network. It becomes one way or the other a responsibility, not necessarily the sole responsibility of this department. We need to make it work. We need to make sure that the servers are up and running. A good portion of everything that we deal with here is cloud-based, but also we still have a lot of the internal things that are behind our firewall, behind our security for the safekeeping of. So payrolls, finance, student information systems, special need information, all that still is stored here within our school district on-prem, as they call it. So knowing how to make sure that we can get to those servers, update those servers, secure those servers, that's what Mr. Rowan does. He makes sure that all that traffic that comes in and out of our network gets packet shaped, as I always call it, making sure that it's secured information and making sure only those entities that need to get to that information has that ability to do so. Is that right, Chris?
Absolutely. And if I was asked for advice on, what do I need to know, what do I need to do in order to be able to get hired in a school district in IT, I would say that you really have to know the basics, of course, but it is all encompassing. You have to know switching and routing and firewalling and how access points connect to the network and stay current. And to me, the best way to do this is hands-on. If you can get some switches and routers and put them together in a lab and practice, that really helps. I've taken many, many hours of training over the years, and the most I could get out of it was the time I spent actually working or configuring a switch or a router or a firewall or whatever it happens to be. And it really is helpful to be able to get that kind of experience. And it's not something that can be done in like an afternoon or something like that. It takes a lot of time, and it helps to be able to figure things out on your own. So.
All right. Well,
we've approached that 10-15 hour. I don't want to extend it too much further, ladies and gentlemen, but the exciting part about technology that changes every day and the jobs are there. Just keep current as best you can.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Fisher and team, for sharing that information. When we were talking about this specific presenter, we knew that visiting a school district, let alone one of the biggest in the Rio Grande Valley, that it was kind of all encompassing. And that's kind of what we want to share with students, that you think of computers, you may think certain things, but within the school district, you're from A to Z. And with continuing education, obviously staying up to date on what's going on. So we definitely appreciate you taking the time to share that information with the students and that are joining us. Once again, thank you, and you have a good day. Next up, we have from the University of Texas, San Antonio, the number 23 ranked team in the country, 8-0, I believe. Luisa, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Luisa, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oops, let me reshare real quick. Want to make sure I have sound. All right, folks. Thank you so much. My name is Luisa Ramirez, and I'm the Interim Associate Director for Undergraduate Recruitment and Outreach. And I'm very excited to be here to talk to you about UTSA. And so I primarily am the admissions counselor for Lower Rio Grande Valley. So if that is in your realm, students, if that's where you're from, just know that I'll be your point of contact. Tony de la Cruz oversees our Upper Rio Grande Valley. And just a little bit about myself is I'm originally from the RGV, graduated from UTSA, and about 13 years later came back to the RGV and still work for my alma mater. So that's pretty awesome. And we have a UTSA alumni chapter for those that do want to leave, get their education, and then come back. You'll have a sense of community. So let me just kick things off with a quick video, and then we'll go on to the nuts and bolts about UTSA. So that showed a little bit of everything for UTSA, what we have in our academics, our research, and also on the student life experiences. So let's talk about a little bit about the university. We have 4 campuses in San Antonio, and our students primarily take courses at the main and the downtown campus. And additionally, our downtown expansion that will include UTSA School of Data Science is opening in the next year or so, and also our national security collaboration, along with the the Southwest School of Art merger that should be finalized by next month. A little bit about the city of San Antonio. We are located in the heart of the Hill Country. We're the 2nd largest city in the state and the 7th largest city in the nation. So this means that there's a lot of ground to cover for our students when it comes to exploring San Antonio. And so you get to uncover a lot of arts, culture, and history. At a glance for UTSA, we are 52 years young. Our enrollment as of fall 2020 was a little over 34,000, and we do offer about 165 programs between our undergraduate programs and our PhD programs. So let's talk about the areas of study. I know that a lot of areas of study were mentioned, but we do have 60 undergraduate areas of study specifically for just the bachelor's degree. And so curated by our award-winning faculty, our diverse set of programs will prepare you for any professional career or scholarly pursuit. And so UTSA's top-tier education will not only remain pertinent to an ever-changing job market, but will also set you up for success. And so nationally recognized for programs such as cybersecurity, we do have programs in geosciences, economics, engineering programs. We also have our computer science, mathematics, statistics, and anthropology, environmental science. A lot of these kind of go along with the career cluster of what was talked about today. We also have additional programs such as public health, nutrition, dietetics, geography and environmental sustainability, and of course, research. And if you can't decide on a major, you can always go undecided, or you can create your own, which is our multidisciplinary studies degree. That one's customizable. We also have our online campus where students can take or complete their degree. There's 3 different degree options along with a certificate, and you can complete this from the comfort of your home, and it'll pretty much fit whatever your schedule is. So let's talk about what you need to get into UTSA. So as a freshman, you will apply through Go Apply Texas or through Common App, whichever one. There's an application fee or a fee waiver if you qualify. You also submit your academic information through the self-reported academic record. And the test scores are optional, but highly encouraged. So if you have those, please send our way. And if you've taken any college coursework, we definitely encourage you to submit your college transcript. So what are the requirements? So if you're in the top quarter of your class for guaranteed admission, you would meet guaranteed admission. So you can come right out onto UTSA. You still have to apply and submit all the required documentation. We still want to show love to all our students. So if you don't meet guaranteed admission, we have admission by committee review. This is where it's really, really important to submit your essay, tell us your story, send letters of recommendation, along with everything else that was mentioned. So financial aid, how can we help you pay for college, right? So we do have a free tuition program. And so in 2019, UTSA created the Bold Promise program, and it's UTSA's commitment to offer high quality, affordable education to incoming freshmen who come from middle to low income Texas families. And so this will cover all tuition and mandatory fees for 4 years for eligible students. You do need to meet the requirements that are listed here, have a family adjusted gross income of $70,000, be a Texas resident, be in the top quarter of your class, and submit all required documentation for admissions by January 15th, along with your financial aid application, and enroll full-time when you do come on to UTSA. We also have our scholarship hub where you can apply for any scholarships that are out there. We do have an abundance out there for our students. So when you get your university credentials, you can log right in and apply. The great thing is that we automatically take out what you don't qualify for. So you'll only see what you truly do qualify for based on the information provided on your application. We also have merit-based scholarships. The Distinguished Presidential Scholarship is up to $20,000. So if you are admitted by January 15th, you will be considered for this scholarship. No additional documentation is required. We do also have the Top Scholar Program. This does award pretty much more than a D1 scholarship for many. It's equivalent to about $120,000. And then we also have the Terry Scholarship, which covers all of your cost of attendance as well for 4 years. So the only thing is the Top Scholar and Terry Scholarship both have an early deadline of December 1. January 15th is our priority deadline for the scholarship priority deadline for financial aid, admissions, and Bold Promise and our Distinguished Presidential Scholarship. So just make sure you meet those deadlines. If you want to stay connected with us, we have lots of opportunities on the virtual side and in person. And so if you want to come onto our website, you can take a picture of the students and definitely check out our Future Roadrunner page so you can join us for any of these events. And then you can find your admissions counselor. Again, as I mentioned myself, but you can scan this QR code and it'll take you directly to our page so that way you can connect directly with me. Thank you so much for your time, and go Roadrunners.
Thank you, Luisa. I definitely appreciate that and sharing that great information, what UTSA has to offer. And for those students that are here, like she said, she is the representative that you'll be working with here locally. If you have any questions about UTSA and what they have to offer, definitely a great campus. And they're really making strides in a lot of things that they're doing. So Luisa, once again, thank you. Last but not least, I would like to share, I think there's a video from Renata Lara, and she is with Texas Southmost College computer science program. So I think Anthony has that video is going to share.
Hi, I'm Renata Lara, and I am the coordinator for computer science. I have been at Texas Southmost College since 2014 as an adjunct instructor, and in 2016 I became a full-time faculty. I very much enjoy the environment at Texas Southmost College. I have committed faculty who help each other to make sure that our students succeed in their goals. We want all of our students to be able to graduate and go and get jobs and share their knowledge with other people. We want to make you succeed so that you can come back and help others succeed as well. The Associate of Science in Computer Science at Texas Southmost College, it's a 60 credit hour program. You will be taking with us Programming Fundamentals 1, 2, and 3, as well as Computer Organization, which will teach you all the fundamentals of how to learn to program computers and how to learn how to program software. Our program is a new program at Texas Southmost College, and a lot of our students are now continuing their journey to that bachelor's at a higher institution. Once our students obtain their degree in computer science, they can go out into the community and help other businesses and industries with their knowledge. They will be able to create software and applications for any industry. They can work in the medical field. They can work in criminal justice. They can also work, of course, with software development, cybersecurity. Your opportunities are endless. The most important thing I want you to know is that when you start a program in computer science, that this field is mathematics and science intensive. You will need a background of mathematics that includes calculus, calculus 2, as well as discrete mathematics, along with university physics, and University of Physics 2, and another science elective. However, don't let that discourage you. Even if you come into TSC and you do not have that background, we have great staff and we have great faculty who are committed to help you obtain those requirements so that you can obtain your degree. You can have a career in cybersecurity. You can also have a career in software development, application development, data testing, data analysis, the gaming industry. That's always fun. Don't hesitate to contact any of our faculty, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Hey, and thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in this first session. We are right at time, and we are going to start with session 2 here momentarily. So if you are with us for, or session 5, excuse me, give us just a few minutes so we can get everything situated, and then we will get going. So thank you so much. There's going to be a QR code that's going to be on the screen. Scan that. Have an opportunity to win Chromebooks, a couple of wireless printers. Thank you so much and have a great day.